And I suppose the flip side of the social media phenomenon is that there is a role that it can play for making people feel better about themselves.
The one thing you see on social media, I mean, social media is this sort of very new, bright, shiny phenomenon, but it's actually working on very, very ancient and quite dangerous circuits. So we're constantly alert to status. We're constantly worried about our relative status to everybody else. And so that we see that playing out on social media. But we also see the idea of one, we live in groups. So, it feels great when it's people on our side. But, one of the people who, passed away, who I talk about in the first chapter of the book, is poor old Phoebe Connop, who was 18 and shared a picture privately on social media, and I don't know what the picture was, but she was worried she appeared as a racist. This picture escaped, and she committed suicide. She's 18 years old. So that's the dark side of this same phenomena. Is it plays with these very dangerous and powerful kind of tribal instincts we have.
It's both empowering and exploitative. So, an American psychologist called Pamela Rutledge described Kim Kardashian's selfies as empowering for her but exploitative of her audience. And I think it comes back to bring it back to feminism about the individual choice versus the collective benefit, is that in that moment, I think a selfie could be quite empowering. There's nothing wrong with sharing, or at least I don't think it is, if there's anything wrong in sharing a picture where you feel good. You want to preserve that moment, and there it goes up. But the ramifications that it can have on other people are obviously immeasurable.
And the other thing that Jean Twenge found in the data was that, lockstep, as soon as this self-esteem idea goes around the world, since Oprah gets hold of it in 1990, you see narcissism in young people rising and rising and rising and rising, and that keeps on rising up into, to the 21st century with the millennial generation. And I think the interesting thing about the technology is I don't think that technology has changed really anything. What the technology has done is exposed who we are already.
There are actually some studies for example, in Asia that studied selfie motivations there, and also here in Germany we did some studies. And what we found there was quite interesting, that there are different needs or functions related to it, so that in some cultures, Asian cultures, it's more on this connective part, like we are doing a selfie together and we are celebrating us being together, and what we found was more this self-presentational individual part.
When I was in Tokyo a few months ago, there's a lot of, when they take selfies, it's that whole trope of all the schoolgirls taking selfies together. I didn't see one person taking one on,
so
on their own.
Yeah,
that's fascinating.
I've got to say that when I was going through the exhibition, there were so many of the group selfies, and they're the ones that I connected with the most, or I felt much.
Because it's collaborative.
It just made me feel really warm. It's like,
And so I think that's where it comes back, that you see it's not the selfie or the medium, it's really what you make out of it.